Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head. You made the spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hunter. Welcome back to the Baseball Head, and hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So the Mets lost on Wednesday at the 4 p.m. game, the 4:10 game versus the Diamondbacks. David Peterson had absolutely, positively nothing. And I would not say I'm concerned yet, but, it's 3 starts in. He's had 1 good start and 2 little crappy ones, but they're just going to send him back out there. Mets have played pretty well. Didn't hit much today. Didn't hit much on Wednesday, but that's how it goes. You just chalk it up. You move on. We get the big boy going on Thursday with Nolan McLean pitching, so the Mets should turn that around. The Mets pitching has been excellent. The bullpen has been excellent. Luke Weaver and Devin Williams haven't given up a run after the first 11 games. Just incredible. But here's a crazy trade room. This is from Fantasy Sports on SI. This is crazy. And let me read you this. This makes no sense. Never see the Mets doing this. Headline, Yandy Diaz, fantasy value set to rise and potential trade to the Mets. Now, unless this is a fantasy team you're trying to trade into and they're called the Mets, this makes no sense in reality. In this MLB mock trade, the Mets acquired first baseman Yandy Diaz from the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for 2 players. I wonder who it could be. Well, I would say the Mets have gotten a pretty good production at first so far. So far, so good. Mark Vienna has been pretty good, all in all, amongst the cavalcade of first basemen they have right now. Yandy Diaz has long been one of baseball's most underrated multi-category bats, combining elite contact skills, a high on-base percentage, and surprising power for a right-handed hitter. In 2026, he's off to a scorching start, hitting .386 with a .471 on-base percentage and .591 slugging percentage, leading the league in hits with 17 through 11 games. His ability to get on base consistently driving runs and provide steady production makes him a fantasy MLB asset for any team looking to strengthen their lineup or boost run-scoring potential. Here's what it will take for the Mets to acquire him. Well, when I read you this, you're going to be like, what? What? New York Mets, Tampa Bay Rays, MLB mock trade details, and fantasy baseball impact. It is a fantasy. Mets acquire first baseman Yandy Diaz. Well, who do the Rays pick up? Well, here we go. Shortstop, Elian Pena. The phenom the Mets have in Port St. Lucie, playing for the St. Lucie Mets, who's 18 years old, who they just signed last year. Makes perfect sense. And not only that, right-handed pitcher Jonah Tom. Well, that's great. What did the Mets get? Well, it's funny you should mention that. Yandy Diaz continues to be one of the most consistent. You just read this part. Moving to Citi Field, Diaz would provide the Mets with a right-handed, high-leverage, high-average bat that immediately boosts multi-category stats and average, on-base percentage, runs, and RBIs, making him a top fantasy asset to 5x5 leagues and on-base percentage leagues. While he may experience a slight dip in power due to the shift in ballparks, the increased line of protection and consistent at-bats in New York make him a valuable addition for both real-life MLB performance and fantasy production. Elian Pena to the Tampa Bay Rays. Elian Pena, one of the Mets' top prospects, impressed in 2025. A .292 batting average and 9 home runs in 55 games in the Dominican Summer League. Entering 2026 in Low A, he's off to a strong start of a .333 average, .429 on-base percentage, showing his ability to adjust to baseball professionally in the United States. Pena is traded to the Rays. He becomes an elite long-term fantasy and MLB asset, offering upside as a middle infielder or corner infield bat with both contact and power potential. While he won't contribute immediately at the major league level, he's a fantasy dynasty league stash, potential to anchor a fantasy roster in 2 to 3 years, provide on-base average and development power. Jonah Tom is a top Mets pitching prospect, top 100, electric strikeout upside. In 2025, he dominated the minors with a 1.43 ERA, 179 strikeouts of 113 2/3 innings. Whip under 1, although he struggled briefly in his MLB debut, a 7.71 ERA. Early 2026 AAA action shows mixed results but he remains a high-ceiling future rotation piece. Now let me skip this part. Why did the Mets make the trade? Let me read this. Not read it. See what their reasoning is. New York Mets are off to a solid start in 2026, but the recent calf strain of Juan Soto has left a significant hole at the top of their lineup. Okay, but he's not left-handed. He's a right-handed bat. Acquiring Yandy Diaz provides an immediate solution to high on-base, contact-heavy right-handed bat who can slide into the top or middle of the order, maintain offensive production while Soto was sidelined. But don't they have Bo Bichette for that? Diaz's ability to consistently get on base and produce multi-category stats makes him a fantasy and MLB asset, helping the Mets sustain run production, run scoring opportunities, and protecting the middle of the order bats. Additionally, Diaz's presence gives the Mets lineup stability. Mets have stability. Okay. Why the Rays make the trade? Well, they get rid of a veteran. They bring in two guys. One guy that'll go right in their rotation and has the ability to be a big pitcher. And a kid that's probably going to be the Mets' top prospect at the end of the season. This is ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous proposed trade I've ever seen. The Mets would never do this. Never do this. For a guy that has minimal power. This is not a guy that's got 25, 30 home run power. Okay? If I were to trade these guys, that's what I'd want back. A guy to get hit for 30 home runs. This guy's never come close to 25 home runs. And how's he filling the void of Juan Soto hit 40 home runs hit 43 home runs last year? This is BS. This is just some fantasy. You talk about fantasy. Talk about fantasy. This is insane fantasy. That's how I look at it. Well, let me know what you think about this insane trade proposal. Never going to happen. Not going to happen. It's not happening. But I will let you know that I like to find these crazy trade proposals and talk about it amongst all the crazy stuff we deal with as Met fans. So, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you later.